I'm not going to reveal I'm not going to reveal who wrote this. Okay, the person's going to remain anonymous, but she's a very large social media or LinkedIn influencer. Leave it at that. You can benefit from knowing this. Successful people are not better than you. They just had different experiences, better networks, relentless ability to take action. Years ago, I walked into a high-profile event filled with industry leaders, executives, investors, and people who had built billion-dollar businesses. I had an epiphany as I looked around the room. We're all human. Successful people are not superhuman. That moment changed everything. When you stop putting successful people on a pedestal and start seeing them as potential peers, partners, collaborators, you can change that view too. The real gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's not talent, it's not intelligence, it's access, confidence, and execution. Good news, you can achieve all of this from any location on LinkedIn. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're not qualified to be in the same room as the people you admire, consider this. The moment you start acting like you belong is the moment opportunities start showing up. And when they do, step up because you're ready, you are worth it. Okay. I have a few things to unbuckle with this. First and foremost, this content is very optimistic and leaves a lot out. But that's not the point. Well, she is correct, successful people are no different than us, but they actually are. I came from that type of a community that she's talking about, and to be honest, they're not collaborators. I know she paints it like they're collaborators, or, they could be potential peers and partners. Until they see that the idea that you present them is worth their value or their time, they're not going to do that, and they will write you off. I have an experience that's going to be shared for this with two different situations. Between 2004 2022, I had an idea that I wanted to do a podcast. I was not encouraged to do this, and this is with my old group of friends because they're 9-to-5ers and they're all from that world. So to them, success was a stable job. Success was a 9-to-5, being able to start a family. What I didn't actually realize until later on is they're products of their parents. Now, let's come to today when I finally decided not only am I going to make my own decisions and not necessarily discard, but listen to certain advice. Last year when I had Geraldine Rodriguez, the co-founder of Knowledge House, to my podcast, I learned something very interesting, and that was this. That was someone who came from similar circumstances as I did, except you just change our zip codes. My zip code was 10532, or the Katona zip code, John Jay. She came from the Bronx. There was no difference aside from that, other than the fact that we have the exact similar economic circumstances where both parents came from working backgrounds, worked 9-to-5s, and yet both of us are entrepreneurs on some level. So in this situation, she is correct. We are no different than the successful people, but I've met successful people like Geraldine Rodriguez who are considerate, kind, mentorable, approachable, and they will at the very least give you some advice, whereas the people that are being talked about in this post who I grew up with, they're not as approachable. In fact, they're a lot more judgmental. Like, share, and comment. I hope you enjoyed this, and when it goes up, let me know what you think.